In this video, you're about to see how to scare the hell out of your opponents with a tiger's trap. Alright, so that's actually a really powerful, not only scary opening. It starts off with the move pawn c4, starting the English opening, and after that, black usually responds with the most common first move, pawn e5, since you're taking away this square, and therefore black just goes pawn e5 in most cases. Now you continue your usual development, knight c3, knight f6, knights before bishops, all the classical stuff. And now it goes pawn g3, aiming to fianchetto the bishop and perhaps to castle later. So far so good. Now there are a couple options for black here. We're going to see what you should do in all those cases. I think the most played move here is the move bishop b4, which leads exactly to the tiger's trap. Besides that, black sometimes develop their bishop to c5, and we've got a powerful shot against that just as well, or they just go something like pawn d5, another classical move which turns it into the Sicilian defense with reversed color, and for that case, we have you covered just as well, and there is another trap there. Anyway, let's first go over the main line, bishop b4. I believe it's the most played move here, and that leads to the tiger's trap. No, the black's intent here is pretty simple. Black simply wants to develop and then to castle. But here, instead of playing the move which black probably thought you would play, bishop g2, you play the move knight d5, challenging black right away. This attacks the bishop, this pawn is also somewhat hanging, and black doesn't feel really comfortable here. It's natural for black to want to get rid of this annoying knight, and therefore black can capture here on d5, which strangely enough is already a fairly big mistake, but of course it's not easy to see it at this point. Now you recapture, and at this point your opponent may realize that things aren't that simple, because now this knight is hanging. If it goes back, you can pick up this pawn on e5, so yeah, it doesn't look that appealing for black. And after a little bit of thinking, some of your opponents will come up with a move which seemingly saves the situation for black. It's the move pawn e4, and black says, hey, okay, you're attacking my knight, I'm attacking yours. Pretty good. Now black does not need to defend or to retreat. And after you capture here on c6, black does the same. Things are actually looking pretty good for black. Black expects you to keep trading pawns, and if you do something like that, let's say pawn takes here and black takes here, black is actually having a fairly good position, really. You've got a lot of weaknesses, black is ahead in development. That should probably be actually winning for black. But there is one little nuance here. Instead of this trade, let's take one move back, you play the move which wins the game right away. That's the only flaw in black's plan, but of course it's hard to calculate all these variations if you aren't familiar with them. The winning shot here is the move queen to b3. And it attacks the bishop, and it also x-rays this pawn on b7, which is the main problem of black. Since the bishop is attacked, black will have to move it back. If not, you can play a3 and force it to go back anyway. And as soon as the bishop goes back, you simply grab the pawn on b7, and this is a double attack to black's rook and bishop. Therefore, you just win a ton of material. In order to save the rook and not let you promote your pawn, black will probably have to grab here, but now you win a free bishop for nothing, no compensation whatsoever, and you're getting a clearly winning position, so that is the tiger's trap. The tiger's trap is named after this little tiger who suggested me this opening variation right before recording of this video. Okay, in reality, of course, this opening trap was named after the former world champ Tigran Petrosyan, and Tigran in a foreign language means tiger, and that's how the trap got its sound name. Alright, now let's go over a few sidelines, certain other options that your opponent may decide playing, and how you can win games in that case. Besides bishop b4, which leads to the tiger's trap after knight jumps to d5, black also sometimes develop their bishop to c5, especially on amateur level. Pros prefer bishop b4 usually, or pawn d5. But a lot of your amateur opponents will play this move bishop c5, which looks perfectly standard. Black still hopes to just castle, but here you've got another tactical shot, knight takes e5. It's not even a sacrifice, because after knight takes, you're following up with pawn d4, which double attacks these pieces, and black is somewhat in trouble, especially if they aren't familiar with this variation, because it's not easy for black to handle this. Now you're highly likely to get two bishops advantage, greater control of the center, and a huge positional advantage. For example, I've just checked in the database, most of your opponents, are unsure what to do here, and they decide, okay, let me at least capture the pawn, which is another move in the wrong direction. Now after pawn takes c5, you're getting everything that you want. You have two bishops advantage. This bishop on c5 is also somewhat annoying. It somewhat restricts black from, moving freely around. Also, this knight on c4 is too far away from the rest of black's army, and maybe you want to play just something like queen d4 and just go after this knight. For that reason, sometimes your opponents will think to play pawn d6, hoping to trade here and drop the knight back, or at least to secure this e5 square for the knight. And it's a nice move in general, but here it just really fails badly after queen e4, check to the king, and attack of the knight, so you actually win the knight right away, and you win the game. And even if black doesn't play pawn d6, you're having a huge positional advantage anyway. And the final move that you gotta be ready for is the move pawn d5. The central advancement, black is trying to get the center, therefore of course you need to trade it. After knight takes d5, you play bishop to g2. Now black usually feels somewhat uncomfortable about this pressure to their knight, and so most of your opponents will play bishop e6 to solidify the knight here. Now after that you simply castle, black develops by playing bishop to e7, and here it's time for you to develop your dark square bishop and also to fight for the center, so you strike in the center with the move pawn d4. Now you're attacking this pawn twice, therefore black has to react after pawn takes. Now you recapture with the knight. You're also attacking this knight, the bishop and the knight. That feels unpleasant. Therefore, most of your opponents will decide to simplify the game and to take here on d4. Again, certainly your opponent expects you to just recapture over here on d4, but instead you play an interesting in-between move. Bishop takes d5. That's a trick that allows you to win. So bishop to d5, this knight is still hanging, you're also having a lot of pressure all around, therefore your opponents will recapture here, and now queen takes d4, and we can see the point of white's little combo. This bishop is hanging, it's attacked twice, but besides that, this pawn on g7 is hanging just as well, and black can defend these both weaknesses, therefore black will have to drop the bishop back. Now queen takes g7, you win a pawn, you're attacking the rook here on h8, black can't castle anymore, and although black can continue playing, objectively white is having a winning advantage. Black has just no compensation for all the problems they have and for the missing pawn here on g7. Now when you know how to win with a tiger's trap, it's time to the puzzle of the day. It is white to move, checkmate in 1. And if you can't find the correct solution, please write it in the comments down below. I usually say that if you aren't sure about the solution, you can just look at the comments of other people and somebody will surely provide the correct move. But in comments to one of my previous videos, somebody gave a witty comment saying that the comment section is filled with infinite run advice and disagreement over every move. And that's after I announced that somebody will write the correct solution. So I'm not sure what to say now, but either way, guys, I believe in you, and this time I'm sure you can do it right. And by the way, I always give links to videos that are used in a video in the video description below as well, so we can also go there and just see the games as well as the solution. If you want to know some more opening traps in the English opening besides the tiger's trap, you can check out this video with the 7 best opening traps in the English opening. Also, if you want to know my best training methods to improve at chess at the fastest rate possible, you're always welcome to attend my free masterclass by clicking the link over there. Keep crushing it, take care, bye bye.